Hi, it's me, Lori Simoon. I am sitting at the rest area in Texas, Anthony's Rest Center, actually, and it's quite beautiful. I decided to go camping for a while near Roswell and check out a few places. And then I'll be going to the beach down in Texas in a couple weeks. But I've got some more things I want to see in New Mexico before I go down south and then finish my trip up through Houston, Austin, whatever, on up into Oklahoma to go to the selenite mines. But let's go ahead and get to our Rose Oracle reading for the day and see what messages she might have for us today. Everybody on the path is beginning to feel her presence, the love within their heart, and they're not sure where it's coming from. That blanket of love that's wrapping around them. She would like you to know that it's coming from her and that she's working diligently now in order to overcome the past and bring her to fruition in the future. She does appreciate all of you, every one of you, and she always wants the very best for everyone, and she prays that you'll stay in the light and not allow the shadows to come back. I don't know where that's coming from, but they're just the messages coming through. So I'm giving them out. I did find a rose yesterday. I posted it in a video. When I had stopped to get gas, I started the gas tank pump, and I was pumping it, and I went in to use the restroom and came back out, and there was this silver rose on the ground behind my vehicle. And when I saw it and I picked it up, I just knew that I was on the right path, that I was truly being guided. And the silver rose, which represents maturity, balance of the divine feminine, the divine masculine, wealth, prosperity, Christ consciousness, everything you think of that is true love and beauty, away from the negativity and that which separates all of us. That's what Rose is all about. And I pray that you will work with her if you haven't started yet. She's calling for all of us to. So let's go ahead and get this card, shall we? It's not quite as noisy on this rest area as it was the last time I pulled over to do one of these. I meant to do this yesterday, but it was just not in the cards, you might say. It just didn't happen. All right, let's go ahead and get this card. I do hope you're having a beautiful Saturday. I truly do. This road trip of mine has been so healing. I actually went to Phoenix in order to heal an old wound and close a door. I went out to the White Tank Mountains, and I remembered the night I left, or not the night I left, but the night that caused me to leave, when I lost my best friend, my children's father. Something had happened to my children, and I had called him to come home, and he didn't come. He chose to stay out and do drugs and hang out with somebody by the name of Jeff Udelhoffen. And I get it. We were addicts. I get it. But I lost my best friend that night and became a single parent. I stood on a street corner with my children for 6 hours, 12 hours, 8 hours, not 12, about 6 hours, 8 hours, praying to God. And the only prayer I knew was the Lord's Prayer, because I just wasn't very enlightened and I didn't know about things back in 1988. I knew that the divine was with me and that I could feel my spirit and I could feel Rose's love and compassion, but I didn't truly understand who I was inside, and it just didn't work out the way it was supposed to. So I said the Lord's Prayer over and over, and I walked that street corner back and forth across the light with my children praying, and their father, Pat, he just chose not to come home. He chose to separate himself from his children and me. And I moved to Florida, and I always felt guilty. I always felt guilty for taking his children. Somewhere inside, I felt like, I needed the kids to be in his life, but the truth is, he always knew where his children were. And I was feeling quite guilty for taking them, but I don't anymore. About a long time ago, I'm going to go ahead and tell my story. a long time, in case any of you are struggling with separation and becoming a single parent or removing yourself from a situation that is hard. I tried, and I lost my train of thought. Hold on one second. Okay, let's see if I can get this right. Something happened to my children, and I went to the street corner and I paced back and forth because their father wouldn't come home. He had given up on us. He chose to listen to somebody else's story that I just wasn't worth it, and I was making things up. But I wasn't. And we were both addicts, crystal meth, amphetamine. It was really bad. It was Phoenix, the 24-hour city. It was, it was prevalent at the time, and it wasn't a good life, and I was almost dead. And I had asked Pat not to bring home any more drugs. No more crank, no more coke, no more anything. And he brought it home. Here, just one hit, it will be okay. And, it wasn't okay. I needed to stop. I was under a size 0. I was near dead. And when after I paced the corner that night with my children, and Pat didn't come home, and he didn't help us. And, it had to do with friends of ours by the name of Gail and Frank. And I know he knows deep in his heart, but years later, in around 2012, I want to say, no, not 2012, later than that, I don't know, 2008, I honestly don't know. It was much later, maybe 2018. I got my Panda Bear tapestry back from Pat via my daughter, and my daughter had said to me, Dad wants you to know he's not mad anymore. And I was like, oh, really? And I never said anything. And here's the thing, he always knew where his kids were. Yes, I disappeared after he refused to come, but that was to get myself clean and to find a way to live my life. He chose not to come. I would send him messages to remember the kid's birthday, and Christmas and holidays, and he never wrote. He never did anything. He did not stay in touch. He did not reach out to our children. And I never allowed anyone to say anything bad to him. So I guess I just don't understand how he thought he had the right to be mad at me. I know it's his feelings, and he's allowed to have those feelings, but those feelings and what he was projecting onto me made me feel guilty. And I don't have a reason to feel guilty. I did what I needed to do for me and my children to survive. Pat, my ex, he's the one who chose to distance himself. He never called on their birthdays, never sent Christmas presents, never for any holiday did he ever reach out. Not even when our son broke his leg and almost died. Our son filleted his femur one year. And I called Pat, and, he just, literally, it was filleted from growth plate to growth plate, and we didn't know he was going to survive. He had an external fixator, and, I called his dad, and because he's their dad, he's supposed to know, right? And he just didn't give a fuck. And I wonder, all the guilt that I feel came because of my connection to Pat, being the empath that I am, being able to pick up those feelings. But I don't feel guilty. I did what was right for me and my children at the time. Did it work out perfect? No, I got sidetracked by a few things, but I don't feel guilty for taking my children away from that environment. Pat ended up in jail. I ended up going to church and learning to live and love my father, to try to figure out who I was. I met a wolf in sheep's clothing that actually cursed me and made me feel unworthy, unclean with my father. You always loved me unconditionally, as the starseed light worker that I am. Call us whatever you want, when we come with the codes. from the ethereal realm, or from wherever you wish to believe we come from the stars. When we come here with that blueprint, I agree that we are starseeds, and it's time to allow ourselves to shine. I didn't know back in 1988 when she first came to me. I didn't know. When Munsai came to me, I didn't understand it, but I knew in my heart I needed a better life and that I had a divine purpose. And I was writing poetry, and I was going to write a book, and I got sidelined and cursed by a very bad person. And I didn't realize. And I wish to inform everybody of the bad that can happen with magic, and to let them know that the divine loves them no matter what. Free from all harm, no judgment, no conditions. Unconditional love is just that, unconditional. Allow your freak flag to fly. Let it shine. Learn to connect to Earth, to your brothers and sisters, and truly share that collective experience within the 5D consciousness, or the 5D world. When you do that and you connect and you get those intuitive hits and you feel the presence of love all around you, shine it. Don't hide it. Help me bring down the veil. Let everyone see what is truly possible in this world when we live for our divine purpose. All right, let's go ahead and get to the rose card now that I've spilled a mountain of information, more than I planned on, but I needed to close that loop. I needed to remember who I was, my divine essence, and my purpose in this world, and to know that I am a good person, and I did make the right choice back in 1988. I did. And my children have a right to know everything. I've always told them the truth. I would never hide that from them. You know, as they get older and they begin to work on their self-healing, those answers are important. I have things from my past I have no answers for. I want my children to have the answers should they want them. So this video will be for them too at some point. They'll watch it perhaps and understand the commitments and the sacrifices that were made in this life by everyone, not just by me, by everyone, including their father. He sacrificed so much in order to live a life of drugs and deal crank and crack, you know? They're telling me to shuffle a little more. We all make choices in this life, all of us. But when he left me on that street corner with our 2 children, he made his choice that day. And so did I. It took me 17 days to leave Arizona with my children and to put a drugged past behind me. But I did it. And when I look back, I'd do it again. I would. I love my children. I love my father. I love Mother Earth, the moon and stars that guide my heart forever. Everlasting love and commitment is what they bring to me. And I would keep that commitment forever, now that I truly understand it and know who I am. Know that our divine essence can wake up and truly begin to sing and guide us home. If you'll just tap in and allow your divine essence to guide you always. It can take a little work. It can. But reach out if you don't really understand what I'm talking about working with your divine essence. Its own angelic being of light. Our direct connection to Source. Reach out and let me show you what it's all about. All right, let's get our card. Open. Well, that sounds perfect. Say yes. Expand through the extremes. Trust life. Boy, that's what I'm doing right now on my road trip, right after putting all my stuff into storage. Absolutely. And I will do picture in picture, but let's go ahead and read it. Open. This is probably one of the biggest challenges of life. Keeping your heart open through extremes. No one is immune to the highs and lows of the human experience, from the ecstasy to the agony, the joy to the grief, the love to the loss. We can't bypass the difficult parts of being human if we want to truly experience the bliss. And if you close your heart off to the grief, you won't be able to fully experience the joy. The rose teaches us season after season. She knows that if she doesn't surrender to each of the seasons, come summer she won't be able to bloom. Birth teaches us this too. The safer the mother feels, the more she can open. Living and dying with your heart open is truly a courageous act, as a life well lived is full of losses and tragedies, as well as great love, triumphs, and adventures. When we're going through difficult times, when we most want to separate, the healing is often found in connection, not separation. When we close our heart and shut down because the pain is too much, we often find ourselves more separate than before. The rose shows us how to open to the world, no matter what the day brings. This card is here to encourage you to say yes to life, to expand through the extremes, and to put your 2 feet wholly and completely in. How can you say yes to life? That's what I'm doing right now on this journey, saying yes to life, to being guided by my spirit, my divine essence, and reconnecting to Mother Earth and Father Sky to heal my mother wound that goes back to the beginning of time when she was separated from us. It's a wonderful thing to wake up every day, even though I'm in my car and I'm traveling with my cat, and I had put all my stuff in storage. I am trusting this process, this divine intervention within my life, to find where I belong, to trust the energies will guide me ever forward. And I pray that you'll do it too. Take this journey with me. Reach out. Take my hand as I take yours. And let's live this life together, this beautiful life, as the descendants of the divine that we are. Work with Rose, the angelic plant. Reach out to Mother Rose and ask her into your heart and let her show you your true divinity, your divine purpose within this life. She's back, whole, loving, filling everyone with true beauty and hope. And it's time to embrace her now. Love and light to you always. I will talk to you later. I'm going to go try and find that campground now. I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay blessed. I wish you the very best in life. I truly do. Bright blessings to you always, and namaste. Bye-bye.